Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Community Live broadcast of the DBR Heino Cup final race in the Heino Cup race number 10. Racers in the men's race have gotten out on course already. The women's race is, I believe, just jumping out on course. We'll be covering both of them as best as we possibly can. We did have, it looks like right off the bat, a little, just as an upfront for the women, going to try and jump in with them. I believe I will be able to do so. We did have a little bit of a misclick, and we'll be jumping in with them as fast as possible, though, and definitely following along with them. I do have alongside of me Alex Rasmussen for today, and let's jump right on into the racing. Alex, they're out on course, and this is Greatest Thunder Flat, going to be a little flat up front, and we'll chat a little bit, too, about the current series standings and stuff for this race here, but definitely going to be some heavy hitting toward the back end, I think, of this race.
Yeah, I think so. When they go through Surrey Hills, the flatter section, and they hit the subway tunnel, I think we're going to see the race start to explode a little bit. It is mainly flat, but there's some small kickers that people might not be may not notice. And also, I think it's pretty strong peloton. I think a lot of people are using this race like warm-up to the Swift for tomorrow. So we're going to see some strong guys in here today.
Yeah, definitely. We do see some DBR riders. Fitzpatrick is out here as well. P.O. Auto is the rider that I'm watching out for sure. Now, with Dig Dig coaching, though, out here, Dan Fleeman's showing up as well as Addison. You know, I noticed them right off the bat from when I jumped into the Zwift Power and looked at the start pens and what was going on with it. I definitely was paying attention because the last time we were out on London with the DBR Heino Cup, as well as Fusion, I believe, they for some reason like to show up with the London races. Now, immediately, though, before we even hit any kind of climate or anything, the Vikings start to give a little bit of a kick here. Norway here looking to try and maybe put on a little show. Is this TV time? Or, I mean, he's got a 2-second gap. Looks like Lou here out of South Africa giving it a go. David PLCC, but a kick at 7 watts per kilogram this early before he hits the climb. He's got a gap already. TV time or something that's a threat?
I think it's TV time, Nathan. I think when you're streaming, everybody wants to put on a show for you. So I think it's definitely TV time. But I like the aggressiveness from Vikings, and also because it's only 22-kilometer race, so we might as well kick it off from the beginning. And let's see some fireworks today.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it very much. Animating the race. Addison goes across here from Dig Deep Coaching. It looks like Lersfing far up here as well from the Vikings team, 9 watts per kilogram. So another kick coming on through here. It looks like it will be Bertelsen here from Denmark here trying to come across, also riding in that DBR kit here. So DBR showing up at the front end up against the Vikings is really seems to be the story on the plate here today. Clark there, though, sitting in on the wheel there right behind. Is that a Kirchmer? KC, yes, Har there. So, and that's been kind of the story is who's going to beat KC from what I've seen so far.
I think nobody have been able to beat him so far, and it's going to be
definitely not what we expected on the Greatest Thunder Flat Heino Cup finals. Not disappointing.
Exactly, and that's what we're talking about. You have to be focused for the duration of the race. Like, there's nowhere you can actually sit on and just take it easy, even if it's just small hills, small inclines up and downs. It just stretches the peloton out, and if you don't stay focused, you could get caught out behind a group, and then you have to close the gap yourself. And even though these early attacks, it's still all together, it's definitely going to hurt the legs when we reach the final 5 kilometers.
Now, we do have the women's race. Sorry, you guys, that we did not catch the front end of it, but I was able to jump back into the women's race out here today, and it does look like they're about to hit the first right-hand turn climb here. We'll get the shots up on the screen here in just a moment, as it does look like a solid contingent of ladies. 540 watts currently coming from Kristen Falk, actually, from Canyon ZCC, but already here, Cecilia Hansen, Hubach, and Whitelaw. Heino off the front. Now, Hansen does have DBR in the name here, I believe, for the TDZ that's been going on. Maybe just not a name change there, but those 3 riders, Kristen's going to have her work cut out for her here with Nielsen sitting on. I'm not sure she's going to make the chase. BRT perhaps could get together with Falk here and try to make something happen. I believe I've lost Alex here for just a moment. Alex, are you there? Oh, yeah, I got Alex. Go 1 second, everybody. Apologies on that. Alex, got you now.
Okay, I can tell you that I was actually warned about this from the sports director of Team Heino that they were gonna shake things up today, and but I didn't expect it to be this early. And yeah, basically the women's Peloton is already split up into pieces, and I think nobody was expecting this. I'm pretty surprised, but again, with the Haubach and Hansen, you're always in for a good race.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, I think because of the reality of what this race is, the final in this series, people are going to be looking for points. People are looking to shake things up, put on a little bit of a show as well, I think, here, because it is number 10 out of a long-standing series. And we're going all the way back to the beginning of December, I believe it was, for the first race in this series. So good to see that we got some action on the front end of this race here. Falk here trying to chase things down. It looks like she's working together here with Neelan. As we look through the rest of the pack here. It doesn't look like too many other riders, though, too interested. Mason now making way to the front here, it looks like. And I did get a little bit of chatter coming on through. Thomas Fitzpatrick, who is in the men's race, says, my second race tonight. My girlfriend, Polly Mason, is in the women's too. So it does look like Polly here, 4.6 watts per kilogram, and looking to try and do a little bit of work here at the front end of this pack to try and close things down. It's only a group of what looks to be 6 riders. Team Turbo at the back end of this here with here Madsen, another rider who's been really showing up in the Tour de Zwift on the women's side of things. Daniela there from Revo, it looks like. Neelan now trying to come on through. Almost all the riders here in this front end are a part of the Tour de Zwift Pro-Am racing, actually, and you can see exactly why. Definitely showing that they're the cream of the crop here. But Daniela now from Revo, this is the one rider that's been able to challenge it. She actually took second in the last, second over the line for the finish line. Now, that's not for the team points or anything like that, but over the line there, up against a few of those riders that are off the front there from that DBR/Heino team that's riding in the Tour de Zwift, actually. So maybe enough firepower to bring this back, but there is a full-on team time trial going on up ahead, that is for sure. And it's nothing. Look at the kids. I mean, they're not messing around.
Yeah, beautiful, isn't it?
Look at these kids.
3 national champions, and they are, even though it doesn't say on the right side, they are teammates tomorrow, racing for Team DBR at, or not tomorrow, the women's Tour de Zwift series. So they're used to racing together, and they just show they're among the best Swift girls in the world.
Yeah, we have the red helmets. This is quite the kit setup. I'm absolutely loving it with the S-Works bikes here with some matching kits here. It looks like Hubach maybe didn't get the memo on what the matchup might be. Maybe they changed it in the pens though too. We have had some situations with the client side not changing the graphics if they change them in the pens. So perhaps from their point of view, they're all in the same kit with their national champions on here. But Mason here not giving up the ghost here, it looks like just yet. 4.6 watts per kilogram coming from her toward the front here, 44 kilometers per hour. We'll see if they can shut this down, but it continues to go out to 10 seconds. Hubach pulls through exactly as she needs to. 6 watts per kilogram on the front. Hansen goes to grab the wheel, and it continues on, 49 kilometers per hour. I'm not sure that this is coming back. The ladies behind do not look to either have the power or the organization to make this happen. Do you think it's power or organization? I think there's enough here to maybe bring this back, but I think it's kind of maybe a little bit of infighting.
Yeah, I think so. And also, when you just see even Louisa Haubach alone sometimes can be hard to catch. And when you have 3 of the strongest girls and they're working together beautifully, just look at the teamwork. It's going to be hard to catch back. You almost need these 6 girls here to be on the same team if they want to bring it back and then just go all in, because it just keeps going out. Now it's 15 seconds and it's just going to continue.
Yeah, so it does look like they've solidified themselves at the front end of the race as well as at the top end of this series so far. If we do look over at the DBR Heino Cup over on ZwiftPower.com right now, we check out the ladies' side of things. Cecilia Hansen, Vicky Neelan, and Kristen Falk. That is the top 3 right now. So Cecilia Hansen is the one that they're really working for out here for the point situation. But Louise Hubach is sitting in 5th place. It looks like only 7 points behind. So Cecilia, I think, maybe has solidified herself at the top here, unless Vicky was able to grab, even if she did grab a win here today, I'm not sure she could overtake Cecilia at 161 versus 187. But there is a reality here with Louise Hubach, who could take down some points to grab a podium spot, not a podium spot, but a 4th place overall and overtake Daniela Straight. So Daniela Straight is definitely going to have some sort of, some sort of motivation here to kick, maybe to bring this back, but I just don't think it's going to be happening here. She's watching perhaps her 4th place overall in this Heino Cup disappear in front of her eyes. Vicky Whitelaw also some opportunity here up against Tina Grobler, as well as her teammate Louise, as she's sitting at 105. So Vicky, perhaps toward the end, we may see some attacks coming out of this women's group. Back in with the men's race, though, there's some attacks thrown down here now, as we do have 14 points with Mortensen from the DBR. They are going through one of the only sections out on course, but there is a little bit of uphill gradient here on the flat sections of the London course. Going to be a left-hand turn, and then into the underground here in just a moment, and it's Madsen from Fusion ECT along with Berthelsen that's giving some kicks here. DBR shutting it down. Nigel Clark toward the front as well. Again, the attacks are so incredibly intense that we can see this. Look, the pack is splintering again. This is very interesting, unexpected. Is it the numbers, though, too? You know, there's 40 in here. Sometimes, you know, I think a few of the riders are taking some breaks here today. We've got a huge race tomorrow out in Italy for TDZ. I think some of the bigger esports teams maybe not showing up out here today because they're focusing in on that. And with less bodies in the pack, there's less wheels to grab, and the level just starts to really be shown for some of these riders.
Exactly. I wasn't expecting this much action on the flat course here, but it is the small hills can even stretch it out. And then also with some of the best Danish bike riders, I thought they were going to save their legs for tomorrow, but they're actually showing up, giving it all here, using this as a good warm-up, but still putting on a show. And here, 12 kilometers in, we've seen a couple of attacks, and I think it's, even though it doesn't break really, it's just going to hurt the legs. And when we come to the through the subway and have that steep one, I think we're going to see we see a kick here again, but we're going to see a lot of attacks in the last on the next 10Ks.
Lou's going here. I mean, this could make, I mean, with the way that the pack is responding and the way that it seems to be putting some hurt in the legs and not as many bodies we were saying, this could succeed. It would be awesome to see, actually, if we did get a similar situation with the TT off the front. Far up, he's putting it all in, it looks like here. 9 watts per kilogram. This is a full-on sprint effort. Now he has to settle in, though, and it looks like Jarland here now from the DBR also looking to go across. The South African Low, who's always seemed to have a solid sprint effort and a kick to get across, trying to do so as well. They're kind of dragging things along. It is putting the hurt in the legs, though. You can see toward the front end of that pack, it is splintering a little bit. It is a single file line. If it gets back together here and bunches up, you know it didn't do a whole lot. Addison, it looks like behind there, you can see the name from Dig Deep Coaching, trusting it looks like that this is not going anywhere. David is there as well. Now a counterattack there from Lau. This, you know, if they keep this up, eventually something's going to snap.
Exactly. I think this is probably the worst section to attack, but they still put in the attack, so it's going to hurt the legs on this section where you normally recover, and then you cross the river, and then you had that long, not that steep, but it's pretty long, 3 or 4% incline before they go back down and cross the river again. So I think that section is where you can actually put in a team attack.
It's doing the work as well here. You can see some of the stronger riders, Dig Deep Coaching here with Dan Fleeman starting to fall backwards a little bit, trying to trust that the wheels are going to be there still. We saw a couple of riders just a moment ago completely fall off the back. Actually, Kirchmer Cycling's Schaefer and P. Madsen, these are some serious riders falling off the back.
Exactly.
Now, with the DBR team with Madsen, perhaps saving the legs for tomorrow, perhaps? We'll have to wait and see if he's involved in the race tomorrow. But, you know, that's enough of that. I was just here for openers, and these guys are in full-on crit mode the whole time through, it looks like. We're already down to 27 riders with 47 starters, 13K in, and it's been mainly flat roads. Gives you an idea of how incredibly intense this has been so far here. I'm going to go ahead and check out what the average powers have been over on zippower.com so far. From what I can see here on the live results. Now, if you have not checked out zippower.com, make sure to do so. Absolutely amazing job that they're doing over there. And they give you estimated time of arrival. Right now, we're seeing a 39:32 for estimated time for the A riders. B riders, we're seeing a 43:10. For the women's, we're seeing a 45:33 for estimated time. Very cool setup over there. For your average watts per kilogram to hang on at the front end of this group on a flat course, Dan Fleeman has thrown down 5.1 watts per kilogram so far for almost 20 minutes. This is an ex-UCI pro racer who turned Zwift racer out here. Absolutely awesome to see.
I think also Fleeman is the one to watch out for in the sprint, so they want to shake things up, especially Team DBR and the Vikings, and maybe also Fusion. You want to shake it up a little bit so they don't bring Fleeman to the line, because he's really hard to beat in a sprint.
Yeah, Dan Fleeman definitely one to be watching out for the sprint. We did see him actually in the Fusion Race series a few weeks back in November on this, a course similar to this, on some crazy attacks over and over again. Very motivated. When Dan shows up, he shows up for the podium for sure, trying to get that win. So I would definitely be watching out for him for a favorite in the sprint, and he can hang on through those kind of kicks. Now, is KC out here today? We've seen his teammates so far, and we've mentioned him. But has Kirchner shown up, or has he said, no, we're good to go because he has the series overall kind of locked in, I believe?
Yeah, I haven't seen him, and you're right. He's pretty much locked up the series. Like he won almost every race we've been streaming. Impressive in both sprints and uphill finishes. So he can do basically everything on Swift.
I'm looking through here, though, and he only did 5 of the races, so I did not realize that. I thought he was in most of the races here, but it looks like since the turn of the new year, when we kind of started missing a few of these races, you know, he got a lot of TV time, but then we didn't have him on the races later, it looks like. And it looks like Martin Hammer Larson for Team PO Auto, 156, is in second place, and Igor Kolps from Heino is actually sitting in first place here with a 187. Nobody can actually take over the first spot. Igor has this locked up, I believe, with 9 races here. Now, Martin Hammer Larson here with 8, sitting at 156, I believe has things locked up as well. So there's only a few spots in the overall, a little further down for top 10s that people are really fighting things out for. And it is going to be Mortensen that might want to be looking for some points out here. See, James Phillips not showing up. Canyon most likely going to be focusing on tomorrow. Adam Zimmerman as well, focusing on tomorrow. Now we do have another attack here, and this is big. This is gone.
That's a huge gap. Huge gap.
I mean, immediately gone. And it looks like Low here coming from South Africa at 184 beats per minute, 442. I've raced against Low on the, I believe it was the Crick course a few weeks back. He's a strong rider. He's got an amazing kick. Lursveen here says that no, this cannot be let gone. I mean, looking to get across 6.8 watts per kilogram. He's going to be having to match. If I were Low, I'd be sitting up a little bit. 6 is a little bit too much to. I mean, he's got to let Lursveen come across unless he has no care whatsoever to work with anybody and wants to do this solo. But that is a huge ask of anybody. I mean, if I were Low,
exactly.
you can see the watts per kilogram. I'd be more interested in 5 right now rather than that 6.
Yeah, it's a long way to. You can't stay on 6 for the duration of the race, and it's always nice to have just one body to join the front, so you can actually just sit on for just a little bit. That's gonna help you so much in your recovery. But we can see behind, we can see Danish bike riders taking responsibility, trying to chase this back, and we come into the hardest section of the course now. And I think this is the part where we're going to bring it back. And we're going to see some attacks when we go across the river, down into the tunnel, and then we come up. Then it's going to be that the hardest section of today's course.
These 2 riders off the front definitely make things interesting, though, here. You know, as if they do get caught, it may cause a couple of more instigations. It may be moments when the riders are going to come up and over the top and counter. Or if somebody does go across, one of these riders gets enough of a gap. I mean, Lursveen with the 4 seconds, not sure that's going to go much of anywhere. It's too bad he wasn't able to get back on terms with the leader here and start working together with him. But if Low here, if he's able to hold on to the gap and he gets one rider coming across on a climb or something of that nature, this could set up for a breakaway situation to start working together. It'd have to be a big kick, but we might be able to see something like that. Now we get into the underground here, 60 kilometers per hour now, 17K in. The chase is on. Lursveen here now giving up the ghost. Looks like 2.9 watts per kilogram you can see coming from him as the Firestone here from ODZ. Flying 61 kilometers per hour. Here comes the freight train that is a blob, the group, the peloton out on Zwift.
Exactly. Now we see the peloton chasing and positioning themselves before the climb. And if you've been on Zwift before, you know coming into the subway tunnel is great. You just basically take it easy and you do 70k per hour. Coming out of the subway tunnel, you have to be really focused because it's like a 17% incline. So you have to kick almost before you hit the tunnel out of the subway.
Now, I am getting some chatter coming through. Morsba here saying that Fleeman is on a gravel bike. here on our feed. We'll have to wait and see if that's actually the bike that he's on. I'll ask him after the broadcast. That is actually a rider that we should do some live interviews with. Actually, there's plenty of riders that we should be doing live interviews with. Make sure to we can do that. We'll be bringing that in more and more, everybody. Just so you know, it is on the plans here. But looking through Addison here now, 7.8 watts per kilogram coming from Addison. Riding on that green and black Spotlight, actually. Interesting to see. Looking through for Fleeman here, though, and I was told he's hanging out on a gravel bike. Is that right? From what I can see here. So he is on, I think they might be right, because if it does not load the graphics up for you, you get this original Zwift bike every time. So it's interesting to see, like, is he just trying to make things harder on himself?
That's weird. That's weird. I haven't seen that before. I mean, if you have the Tron bike, you're probably going to take that or some of the other good bikes on the flat section. So I haven't seen anybody go on a gravel bike on this particular course before.
Here we do have Fitzpatrick, a little bit of a gap. It does look like they were able to catch low out there here. So Mortensen here from DBR, one of the riders who is looking for some points out there to jump back into the top 10 still. As you can see, Mortensen 1.5 backing off a little bit now. Now it's going to be M. Hammer, also a rider who's looking for quite a few points out here as well. 4.5 watts per kilogram coming from him. Low coming on through on the right-hand side now, as you can see. And then it's going to be Starzinski there on the right. Larson there, DBR, left side. Legion now, a little bit of moves. This is one of the sections that you need to be watching out for. Another kick now. There's like 2 or 3 kicks through here, and this is actually going to be, is it the Vikings again? Yes, it is. The Vikings go again. 7 watts per kilogram here coming from the Vikings. Madsen looking to come across. Does exactly that. Fitzpatrick, Thorgensen here from the DBR team now as well. Nigel Clark there shuts things down, and now it's going to be Starzinski coming through, and then Favero here now. Asiomo actually coming through at that 3% gradient. This is the final kick, I believe, for this.
This is deep section now. This is where we can do something. 4% is actually good section if you want to attack, and it's actually pretty long. So if people want to do something, mix it up. It's right about now, and then it's not that far. It's only 4K to the finish here. So if you want to mix it up, it's go time now.
And we do see exactly that coming from far up here. One rider falling off quickly. I mean, absolutely nuclear it looks like here. And it will be Jarland, actually, from the DBR team going backwards here. Now Bull here off the back here. It looks like Clayton here now trying to hold on. Erickson, riders that falling like flies. Race. Absolutely eliminating everybody out here. Alex, this looks difficult for these riders at this point. Absolutely heart rates coming up out of the chest at this point. 179 beats per minute here. Mothigard now 130, 352 watts consistently now. The kicks continue on, and at the front, it does look like it is going to be Favero Asiomo now coming from Denmark. Still with 1 second here. Not quite able to get away. Down to a 1% gradient. And anybody who's made the pack at this point is most likely sticking along for the duration to at least the underground.
Exactly, but it does put the hurt in the legs. That's what people forget. So even if you get over the top of some of these sections, I know that from personal experience, it's just you're gonna feel it when you hit the sprint, and it could hurt your sprint. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to put the hurt on some of the sprinters here, so they can't kick as hard as they usually can on a completely flat section.
And we will be into a sprint in just a moment. Back into the ladies' race here. 2 minutes off the front.
Look at the gap.
Oh, they have.
That's
I mean, I think the reality is that they said these ladies are not coming back, and the chase group just started looking at each other, saying, "Okay, well, it's a race for fourth here at this point," and it has been an absolute. Now, is this just openers for these ladies? Because there is a reality that they're some of the strongest out on Zwift, and are they just getting
take a screenshot of that, Nathan? That's impressive. That's just beautiful. 3 national jerseys from the team from the most dominating team on Tour de Zwift, the best ladies in the world. This is really impressive to watch, and 2 minutes, that is quite a gap.
There's a huge gap here, and you do see, I think it does come down a little bit too. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from them. I think the other ladies, though, here started to say, okay, well, we're racing each other, and we've got this gap. Nobody's coming back at this point, but still, not to take anything away from it here. 4.6, continual team time trial mode, and 4.9 on the front. Now, there is going to be some infighting, I think, between these riders, because there is points to grab from them. Maybe maybe there's not going to be too much care for it. But, I mean, we do have a situation where for the overalls right now, Cecilia Hansen, she's got things locked up. But Louise Hubach and Vicky Whitelaw, they are both within 6 points of each other in the overall right now. So if Vicky is out, now I'm not sure anything can really change though, because the point structure is such that there's only going to be 1 point difference between them. So not much that can happen there. So it looks like those spots are locked up here. Luis, fifth place. Vicky most likely going to be sitting in 7th. At least between the two of them, they could overtake Tina Grobler as well as Daniela Estrade though.
But I do believe they also, one of the reasons they do these team attacks is also just to test out the tactics for the Tour de Swift, which is what they're really going for, and it seems to work.
Now we are seeing the attacks here coming out of the underground here. 166 beats per minute. We saw the orange numbers. It looked to be up into the 11 to 12 watts per kilogram for a moment there. Nigel Clark coming through here. We're into the last K and a half or so as we head toward the finish line. It's being led out by the BRT rider here. Any predictions? Is Fleeman still there is the question. We do have Addison, but is Dan Fleeman still there? Because it's going to be about his kick, but what is he able to make it to this section?
For me, it's Fleeman if he's there, and if not, it's gonna be Simon Nielsen from Team Fusion. Also has a pretty good sprint, so for me it's gonna be between those.
Yeah, we're gonna see. Well, Simon Nielsen, we'll have to watch out and see what's gonna be happening. Him Larson's there as well from the DBR. Far up, maybe gonna have a solid kick. You know, the Vikings, they've been extremely aggressive here so far, so we'll be watching out for them as well. Far up here, I just am noticing Bragg Bergen is in here. And this is a rider I'd definitely be watching out for as well. Many a times we've seen him come to the line with a kick over the top here, perfectly timed. And that's really what it's about sometimes too, is the timing of the kick, when the riders do go. Watching here, Fleeman here in the red and black kit. Now coming through to the front, it does look like it is going to be the Bolt Racing team with Nigel Clark leading things out a little bit. Waiting for that kick. Everybody's sitting in. When is it going to open up is going to be the question here. It looks like Bertelsen now, 3.8 toward the front. They're going extremely late, actually, here. Do we got things right? Is the finish right around the corner, or is it actually all the way over at the Classic? Do they see something different on their screen?
That's my questions as well.
Yeah, it must be.
It looks like
almost
Classic. Like a truck spin.
No, I think
it must be at the mall.
Yeah, okay. That's our apologies. That's on us, everybody. As I thought we were finishing across the finish banner here for Prudential Ride London, but it looks like they're going to be heading on over toward the Classic course. I'm looking at and that is right, I'm looking at this right now. After the escalator, they're doing a reverse sprint on the Classic course. 31 Ks is actually the race situation. So that's our bad on the call there. But they'll be coming on through. So they're actually going to go along the River Thames and then taking the right-hand turn again, then a left, and then a roundabout onto the mall, and the reverse sprint is where things are going to be happening. Logue looking to go again, it looks like here, 7.6 watts per kilogram coming from him. Madsen now from Fusion looking to shut things down, it looks like. Now 7 watts per kilogram real quickly here. It looks like this may be a little bit of a threat. It's been a long enough of a race, and there's been enough kicks like this. Some of the riders might start just throwing their hands in the air. Far up here now, 5 watts per kilogram. Bertelsen looking to come across here, it looks like now. It is a 2-second gap up to low, and he's off the front again. Absolutely loving the efforts from this rider here as he is animating this race.
Exactly, and this section is also really underrated with 6%. From personal experience, that's also really hard when you go out the gate and you hit those, like a double kick before you go through the tunnel. It's much harder than you anticipate, and then you go along the river, and then you have that final kick before you go into the sprint when you go up from the river onto the mall.
Looking through some of the chat here now, I am seeing Larry Parker saying Dan Fleeman for the win. Dave Ranson saying Morse wins, write it down. I'm seeing Fleeman usually goes for a 5-minute TT. I'm hearing from Aaron there as well, so perhaps we'll see Fleeman with an attack up on the top here in a moment. Mike Morse has got a solid fan base. I'm hearing from Matt Carville here, so we're going to be looking for Mike Morse to make something happen. It looks like here coming, is that out of New England? Mike Morse, Palacio, and I see NE in there with the USA flag, so I'm assuming we're talking New England there. Lars Hubo, yep, we'll be checking in with the ladies. It does look like, thanks a lot for all the chat, everybody over there at Facebook as well as Twitch. We are watching. And we are seeing Hansen now, as well as Whitelaw, 5.3. This is going to be coming up and out of the underground here in just a moment. But it is a little bit of attack, it looked like, from Hoekstra here from Netherlands now. Mason there, Polly Mason, 2.9, making her way to the front. Daniela is straight now. Oh, 0 watts per kilogram for a moment there. This is a cagey, right? You know, straight is really has been newer to the racing scene from this Revo team. And she is been somebody who has been really impressing as far as coming onto the scene over the last couple of months here, and watching the way that she rides, even like, you know, look at the riders that are around her. Vicky Neelan, the only other rider here that really seems to know right now the controller side of things. Now it does look like a couple of the other riders following suit, getting to that 0 watts per kilogram, but early on, for like the last 10 to 15 seconds, before the other riders even got into a super tuck, a straight was already down to 1.6 watts per kilogram, finding the wheels really well. And it goes to show that the reserving of energy, the reality of being able to use your legs as controllers in this gaming platform that is mixing the physical reality of a sport with the esports side of things and being able to control your avatar well. It really does matter. There was a huge difference in energy expenditure there just a moment ago.
Exactly, it does matter so much. Like in real life, on the road, you want to sit in as much as possible. You want to be as aero as possible. You want to be able to sit up really close to the wheel in front of you just to save energy. So it's actually not always about putting out as much power as possible. It is about recovering and then using that energy when you need it.
Yeah, and just to highlight, I mean, the also being newer to the esports scene that we've seen her out here, and if that quickly picking up on, obviously done her homework here. And that was one thing that we had said a lot in the Pro-Am racing during the KISS Super League, and now this year as well with the pro racing in the Tour de Zwift Pro-Am. You know, a lot of times it just seems to be experience to where to go, when to go, how to kick, how the power is going to respond. But then I think there's also reality that some of the pros that do show up and start hammering away. Real quickly here, we'll get back into that point here because there's definitely some attacks actually going down here in the men's race, and we definitely don't want to miss that. But it looks like Thorgensen here now, Bertelsen far up now. It looks like trying to go now. This is going to be Madsen now. David from PLC. It looks like kicking into some orange numbers, all able to follow here. Larson there sitting back at the back of the pack there. Hansen there as well. Maybe just trusting. Lowe's now about mid-pack. Interesting to see after he does get caught, most likely looking for a little bit of reprieve. But no real gap opened up. So back into the idea, though, with the pros versus or those who are just unfamiliar with the platform. They jump in. They've got huge watts to give, and then they just waste them. like there's just a reality. There's only so much you have to work with, right? I mean, Alex, there's this you can't. Agree. Yeah, you just can't waste your energy, and you end up off the back wondering what just happened.
It's a different kind of cycling. That's just what, if you get the best pro, you put him on Swift. He doesn't know exactly how it works. Like there's just different tactics. It's just like also if you put the best guy on the road on the track and he hasn't tried it before, he's gonna get beat by all the best track riders, and it's the same thing on Swift. It's just another discipline inside the world of cycling.
Looking through here, and I'm seeing a couple of comments coming on through. We're in the chat actually speaking about the rider on the attack now. Polly Mason looking to close things down, but it looks like Daniela, who's getting a little bit of chatter there from her fans as well. Daniela is a master drafter, we're hearing from Bassett. Revo saying her average watts per kilogram almost always lower than anyone around her in her results. So it does look like one of her teammates there cheering on over at the Twitch channel. Thanks a lot for bringing that info in. Kristen Falk looking to work together, it looks like, with some of the pack behind here and leading things out at 4.5 watts per kilogram. Daniela here with 4.7. There was a solid attack at the 7 watts per kilogram to get this gap here. Vicky Nealon here from BRT now coming through here. So the BRT rider now trying to lead things out. Polly Mason now coming on through with that, it looks like, Zwift Academy kit on. And Kristen Falk sitting in, maybe looking to pounce and get across to Daniela's wheel here. That 2-second gap going to be difficult to hold, though, with 4 riders working well together behind.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult, but it's nice to see Daniela attacking and just testing out the legs. And I just want to praise DBR and Team Heino and their tactics again. I think nobody was expecting an attack after, was it 3Ks or something? And it was so early, and it just caught everybody out.
Yeah, and it actually was, it was on this climb, I believe, that they're about to hit here in just a moment. the right-hand turn after going along the river here. Now, we do have an attack here very early on, actually, coming from low in the men's race. Well, I mean, the most animated racer on the day is going to be the South African here. Now, 29.9 Ks in, and it is the roundabout here. That's it. The pack, are they sleeping? Look, with how far out he is, this isn't too far out that he couldn't hold 6 to 7 all the way to the finish.
Exactly.
I think he could do this if they don't respond.
Yeah, but I think especially Danish bike riders, I think they're gonna sacrifice some of the guys for some of the other guys, and that's the issue. Normally, if nobody wants to catch it, it's because everybody's saving their legs for the sprint. But I think here they have some guys they want to sacrifice, and some other guys they want to wait for the sprint.
Yeah, I am looking through here, and it does look like only 1 second, 2 seconds now. It's all said and done, but there's a gap here. They've got it here. Now, this is a huge expenditure of energy, actually. And Bertelsen here looking, is he just looking to close it down? Only 6 watts per kilogram. That's not the kind of attack that you're expecting if he thinks he's going to be trying to get away from this pack with how fast they're coming on here. Low with that early attack. I think he's kind of put the nail in his own coffin here at this point, but it's Hammer here from PO now coming on through Dig Deep coaching here. Here comes 8 watts per kilogram. It's Dan Fleeman looking to set up. Third wheel there. He's with his teammate right next to him there. Addison now. Dan Fleeman goes into 9 watts per kilogram. This is a very early go here from Dan Fleeman. Now 9 watts per kilogram. I mean, we're almost, I would say, we're like 800 meters to the finish line still here, and Fleeman's already opened up. Is he doing it for Addison? And maybe it's for Addison. Addison's sitting third wheel because he's keeping the speed as high as it possibly can. Madsen sitting here from Fusion. It looks like Farup's now trying to come through. Farup was down to 1.7 watts per kilogram for a moment there. What a good use of his energy. Now it's going to be Firestone now, 13, 14 watts per kilogram. Nielsen trying to make it happen here. Will Fusion be able to hold on? But the kick's coming from Mortensen. Here comes Mortensen flying by. No, it's Firestone. Morse, excuse me, from New England, man, with the fans in the chat. Where'd this guy come from? Who's Mike Morse? What an amazing job there, Mike Morse. Across and first. What a kick to the line.
I thought Simon Nielsen had it, but Morse, we got to put that name down and remember him for the next stream because that's a name to look out for now.
And sorry about the camera angles there for a moment, guys. But
Simon
it
Nielsen.
looked like Nielsen. Nielsen was at 13, 12 watts per kilogram. I thought maybe he was going to hold on to it here. Now you can see, look at Morse coming through. I mean, I clicked back looking for his wheel, and I accidentally hit Mortensen, as you can see, is right below the 14 watts per kilogram there coming from Morse. Morse from Velasio, New England. Look at that. He came through 60 kilometers per hour. He's got to be doing 64 kilometers per hour. The difference is 4 kilometers per hour between him and the other riders with that kind of a kick to the line. Amazing result there, actually, for Morse. And it looks like across the line, maybe Nigel Clark and Firestone, they were the ones battling it out there for the spots behind. We'll jump in with the results here in just a moment. We do have the 3 riders off the front there, but Velasio killing it. Mike Morse.
I did believe that Fleeman was trying to do a long sprint, but I think you're right. In the end, he was just doing a great lead out.
Yeah, it looked like he was working for Addison. Addison was sitting in there. We'll have to take a look at the results and see how it worked out for them. The leaders here in the women's group now, though, they're coming down the downhill. They'll be taking a right-hand turn. Now, it'll be fun if they, I want to, like, if they're watching the live stream, like, encourage them to get a little bit antsy with each other here. Hubach coming through.
Exactly.
We'll see if they'll start pushing on and not just sitting in on each other here at all, and maybe see if we can get a little bit of fighting between the DBRs. Who's the strongest amongst these 3 national champions? That's what's going to be the question. If I put it down to a sprint, I'm going to give it to Hansen. If Whitelaw or Hubach go, they may be able to TT away.
Yeah, we saw Hansen impressive. She won the last stage of Tour de Swift, the women's on Watopia. So we've seen her in sprints, but we've also seen her climb. So she can do a lot of things. But I do hope they're gonna race each other because they're so far ahead. So they might as well do it just for the competition. And also, I know if they're not watching, I know their sports director Lars Husballer, who's behind the tactics, the team tactics, is watching, so maybe he can tell them on Discord to mix it up so we can see a cool final.
That is something that I think some of the new viewers might be like, wait, what are you talking about? Discord? Team what? So there is a reality that a lot of these teams, these higher end esports team, they have their director in chat with them, like we have right now, hanging out in a Discord channel, giving direction, telling them what to go, when to do it, following along with the race. So definitely exactly like in real life when you got the radio in the ears.
Exactly, just like the sports director in the car, he's just sitting behind his computer and just talking to them on Discord, and they can hear everything. And it does actually work. We do see more and more team tactics, and it's really impressive when it works, when you see something like this and it succeeds.
Yeah, very, very cool actually here. I'm getting a couple of more chatter coming on through. Dave Ranson said, no chance, told ya. And Larry Parker saying, gate race Mike Morse. We're seeing David Friedman saying, perfect timing. It was. That timing, I was impressed actually. I've seen a lot of sprints on Zwift Racing, and that kick, he waited till the perfect moment to go and came flying through freight train, full bike length. That's how you win a bike race out on Zwift with the timing there coming from Mike Morse. But we'll get the results up in here in just a moment for everybody as we're looking to load them up for you into the broadcast for the men's race. But great job to all the racers out there for sure. For the A category, but we've got the women's here finishing up. There is going to be, I'm not sure we're going to see too much infighting between the three of these ladies. We'll get a little bit of fun between them, but it is definitely going to be about the riders behind, I believe, and that is going to be the chase group. I think Kristen Falk's going to be looking for a result here on the day up against some of these other riders. I think Kristen's going to have to break away, though, from this pack if she's going to win this outright, because I think there's some solid sprinters here amongst them.
Yeah, and speaking of timing, I just want to get back to that point. That's also something you need to learn on Zwift. It is very different from the road. I feel like you need to kick a little bit earlier than you would normally on Zwift.
Yeah, and that is true. That is definitely true. But did you see where he went though? I think it depends on the pack, and it was interesting. Maybe it's because it's 1% uphill gradient though too here, and so he could wait just a little bit longer because he did go with what it looked to be about 100 to 150 meters. But I'll have to go a little back into the. I think the speeds are just really high. I think the wattages are just really, really high.
I think he was sprinting early, but it just took a while before the trainer reacted. And now we see the women's sprint here. We see Cecilia Hansen go early. Let's see if she can take it.
They're not even responding. They're like, go on, Cecilia. Take it down. DBR. Heino followed up, it looks like, by Hubach and then Whitelaw across the line. So that's the situation here. Let's jump back in with the chase group, though, because we did see Daniela here on the attack. I saw 7 watts per kilogram there real quickly for the women's side of things. So good to see that little bit of a kick here from Daniela. We'll see if she is able to hold on to this gap here. Polly Mason here now 5.0 watts per kilogram. Vicky Nealon trying to hang on to the wheel there. It looks like in second place. Polly putting in the brunt of the work here, it looks like. Mason trying to shut things down, but this is a huge energy expenditure before they even hit the sprint section. There's not a lot of matches to burn between the 4 of them, and somebody's going to win out because at the end of the day, you rock, paper, scissors here a little bit, and then there's only one left. You know what I mean? Like they throw down, and one rider's sitting in. There could be some infighting that actually benefits Daniela because of that.
Definitely, a lot easier to break away from only a 4-man group of 5 girls. So you don't carry as much speed down in the peloton. So somebody has to take responsibility, even if it's just 2 seconds. Like normally, this would just get closed in instantly. But here you see a little bit of tactics behind, like who's going to close this gap, because people still are waiting for the sprint and want to conserve some energy for the sprint.
Now, she is putting in a big effort here, though. 5.3 watts per kilogram, 3 seconds could get closed down pretty quickly if somebody does pounce. But they're going to have to pounce pretty quickly here, actually. It's going to have to be a long, drawn-out sprint. Kristen Falk not too interested, it looks like here. Daniela might just make this happen on the solo. Everybody just looking at each other, and Daniela is walking away. She's within 300 meters here at this point. They've got to go, and Polly Mason goes. 7 watts per kilogram here coming from Polly Mason now. Not even up and out of the saddle. There it is, 8 watts per kilogram. She has to close it now here. Daniela's maybe has enough to get that 200 meters to just stretch out that gap. She's got Hoopsters now trying to go. Will she be able to do it here? Daniela, 5.5 watts per kilogram, trying to hold on. It's coming right to the line. Hoekstra's coming through, 11 watts per kilogram from Hoekstra. I believe she's going to pull it off, and she nips her right at the line. Daniela tried. Oh, it was so close. But Hoekstra comes through with that 11 watts per kilogram. What a timed kick there. That was impressive, actually, all around. Really impressive. Let's see if we can bring in the replay here for everybody. And good effort there. Good effort there from the riders. But I'm looking through for this. See if we can grab you guys this replay. I hope we can. And it does look like I've got the Mason here replay. And let's go ahead and bring that in. And here we go. Yep, Polly Mason here trying to chase down. It looks like Daniela is straight there. She kicked into 7 watts per kilogram real quickly. Hoekstra, look at Hoekstra go. 8 watts per kilogram. It's right to the line. Daniela, we got her point of view here. She's got only 100 meters, 200 meters or something like that. And there's Hoekstra with that kick here, 11 watts per kilogram. Vicky Nealon trying to come through here. Kristen Falk sitting in on the wheel, and all 3 of them, I think all 3 of them. And is that my voice in the background there? Oh, they're coming on through. Loving it. All right, so looking through here, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the results for both the women's and the men's race. I think we can bring in the women's here in just a moment as well. But this is Mike Morris there coming on through, able to take things down, looks like by 0.2 tenths of a second. 4.2 watts per kilogram. Martin Firestone coming through for second. It's going to be Simon Nielsen for third. Nigel Clark, BRT, followed up by Gerald David there for PLCC. Stian Lersveen from the Vikings. Martin Hammer. And it's going to be Martin Mortson. John Addison there for Dig Deep Coaching. Tried to get that lead out going down, but did not happen. Where is the South African board? After going and going and going, ends up in 20th place. Doesn't always mean that the most animated rider, right? That's going to make things happen. Fleeman, look at that, 23rd after all the power he threw down.
And also South African with 370 watts average, so at least he won the most watts. So he did also do a lot of effort. So
this is true. This is definitely true. We're looking to get the women's results up on to the broadcast here. I'm not you guys, technical difficulties on that side. I'm going to read them out, but I'm not sure I can show them directly on the screen here, just with a couple of the things we have to mess around with in order to get that stuff into the broadcast here. But it does look like for the final results on the women's side on the A race, Cecilia Hansen coming on through at 5:54, Louise Hubach, and then Vicky Whitelaw. That's the top 3. It will be Kimberly Hoekstra. Nice job to her coming out of the Netherlands there, coming through for 4th, just ahead of Vicky Nealon, and then Kristen Falk. Daniela Straight trying to make it happen. Unable to hold on to that gap, and she comes through behind Kristen Falk there, followed by Polly Mason, and then lined here up Madsen did a solo ride for most of the race, actually. Ended up about a minute 20 back from that group that we saw finish, that second finish group there. And then it was Amelia Mitchell, followed up by the draft rider, Angela Pitzer, actually, and that is, I believe, the U.S. national champion actually coming on through there. So solid ride for her. So, all right. Alex, great racing in Heino Cup. Amazing all around. Excited to see how things end up for the overall for the series. We'll do a little bit of an announcement for the series, or we'll share up what DBR does share for who takes things down for the series. TDZ tomorrow. You excited for the racing, Alex?
TDZ. I'm so excited. I'm going to go down and live stream Martin Mortensen. We saw him on the stream today, and you guys are going to be able to see him. We're going to put him on the Discord so you guys can actually watch him when he does his attacks. So it's going to be an exciting day tomorrow.
Absolutely awesome. So it sounds like you need multiple live streams up tomorrow because there's going to be live riders. You know what's cool about this is, for those of you who might be unfamiliar with the world of live streaming and gaming, this happens all the time with something that's called Twitch Rivals. Mixer has something similar to this with Mixer Matchups, where multiple live streamers will be streaming their point of view of an online tournament in Fortnite, Apex, or whatever it might be. And at the same time, there's a broadcast with casters doing the productions and the esports side of it to talk about everything that's happening on a on a broad point of view, scope out of the whole event. But then they've got personal point of views on their live streams that you can watch from their first point of view. Absolutely awesome that DBR is at the forefront of that. Canyons ECC, I believe, are at the forefront of that, and quite a few others. So make sure to be watching out for all the live streams that will be going on as well during the TDZ tomorrow. Alex, thanks a lot for joining me, and I'm excited for TDZ tomorrow. We'll see you there.
Yeah, me too. Thanks a lot. See you guys.
No worries. Hey, great job to all the riders out there, as always, everybody. And as always, ride on.